Hello and welcome to Discovering Grayslake, unveiling the stories and people that make our town so unique. I'm your host, David Woll, and I'm thrilled to bring you this new podcast that explores fascinating stories and experiences of local business owners and community leaders, right here where we call home. Grayslake Rehabilitation Center is a community-based private practice physical therapy provider. Do you know they have 13 clinical providers with various levels of specialties, including orthopedics, sports, neurology, vestibular, geriatrics, pelvic floor, and aquatic? What? Did I just say they have a pool? Well, they do, and it's the largest indoor warm water pool in Lake County, featuring 2 underwater treadmills and swim currents, and recently added clinical treatment specialties, in layman's terms, shockwave. They have both radial and focus units that are the newest tool in regenerative medicine, available to everyone. They pride themselves on the most current and up-to-date specialized care to keep you moving. If you're looking for physical therapy, make sure to see our friends at Grayslake Rehabilitation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode here. Today I am sitting right downtown Grayslake on Whitney Street at we're going to call it the new and improved Andy's Records.
Yeah, we might as well.
Yeah. I'm with Nick Rush. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. We did get together, it's almost been, I think, a year and a half ago.
I know.
And we're at your old space.
It's been a lot of stuff happening in 18 months, yeah.
Yeah, you're one of the busiest guys that I know. Let's do this. I want to start off because you've moved locations, you bought the building. Let's talk about things that have happened since we spoke last.
Sure, yeah. Record store. We spoke right when the record store was opening, I think. So
I think so.
Store's been open for, a year and a half, coming up on 2 years now. We spent, our first 12 months over there on Holly Street in our small but wonderful little spot.
It was a cool spot.
It was a great spot, and it was a great, spot for us to get started, see how the community would respond to having a record store, see if it was a viable thing. Great response from everybody, and it proved right away that it was, but also became clear right away that we needed to get out where we had a more traditional retail space, where we got some of this foot traffic that we get in downtown Grayslake. And so when we found a chance to move over here to Whitney, we jumped on it.
Yeah, because you guys, the spot you have was not ideal for foot traffic.
No, those are office suites over there, let's be honest. So we, we were...
Tucked kind of in there.
The price was right, and it was a great place, like I said, for us to get started and test things out. And so, a year there was perfect, and it just... the stars aligned, and this place opened up right at the right time, and we were able to work out moving over here. So,
well, and in true entrepreneurship and everything, you guys took us. You have a beautiful family. You kind of took a leap of faith.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a big deal to move from that to, because you guys bought the building here. Right?
We did, yeah, and that was luckily we were fortunate enough to be in a position where we could do that, and it's a great space for us, and I don't see us ever moving again. So this is, the permanent home for Andy's Records now.
Right. No, it's wonderful. Yeah. And have you noticed that you have a lot of different new customers being in here?
Oh, definitely. I get people still coming in. We've been here since April of 2024, so we've been here for a while now, and I get people coming in every weekend asking how long we've been here, just discovering it. So, yeah, it's made a huge difference. And just the extra space. We've got space to spread out and have events and do live music in the store and things that we wanted to do for a whole year over there that we just didn't have space to do, or that we were forced to do outside while the weather was nice.
Right.
So it's really great space for us. And
yeah. Well, one of the reasons I'm here today, too, is because it really intrigues me about a lot of the really cool things you're doing. And first being that during the holidays, I came over and you guys had some live music going. And then I was like, wait, you guys are using cameras and recording stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You had a sound mixing board. What is all this about?
Yeah, well, if you remember from talking to me last year, I've got a day job working in film and television production. So one thing we always wanted to do were regular live shows at the old store. And we started doing monthly live in-stores here as soon as we got the space. So we have live music in-store once a month. Shows are always free. Shows are always all ages. And we've got a whole variety of genres and bands from around the area, coming in from the city, coming in, down from Milwaukee. So all different types of stuff. Yeah.
It's awesome, and especially I like that was themed Christmas. And I know that I don't know when the show is going to be recorded, but you have some fun things coming up with like young bands with like 3 of them at a time.
Yeah. We've got like I said, all different types of shows. The thing with Santa is a fun tradition we started last year at the old shop. My buddy Greg.
No, shut up.
T-shirt
Shout
I'm wearing right now. We had convinced him last year to dress up as Santa and play Rockin' Santa for us. And we had a lot of fun with it. We crammed everybody into my little office where we recorded last year at the old space, and it was hot and very crowded. So it was nice to get to do it spread out in our larger space with the little stage that we have here. And it's become our new Christmas tradition, the Andy's Holiday Party with a performance from Rockin' Santa.
That's awesome. And shout out to Greg's guitar lessons, Greg Hankin.
Shout out to Greg Hankin for making that happen, and Amanda Danner as well, who sings with him. And
she's great.
She's amazing. She sings with the Westerlies, who play around here all the time and have played at the store. And she's just a great performer, great voice.
Awesome. So when you do these things at the store here and you have these performances, you're recording them. Yeah. Is this something you're putting together? Is there a bigger project coming out of this?
It is, yeah. So the other thing we've always wanted to do is a YouTube channel, Live from Andy's Records. And it's something we started doing. So every one of the performances, we do multi-track audio recording. So that we can mix and master the audio afterwards. Greg, again, mixing and mastering for me. And I have full professional camera crews, friends of mine that I work with doing my day job, come in. We film the shows with multi-camera, prime lenses, good-looking stuff, and we send it all off to my editing team, who same editor that I use for, I think I told you last time, I do music videos in my free time.
Yeah.
What little I have.
Free time.
Yeah.
That's
so, we've got a full professional video and audio team.
We're taking a quick break just to say hello because everybody knows Nano, and Nano knows real estate. And actually, I believe that's the name of her Instagram page. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or know somebody in the market for a home, contact Nano from Baird & Warner. She's a Grayslake girl helping out Grayslake people.
Filming and recording and then mixing, mastering, and editing the performances so that we can start this YouTube channel, Live from Andy's Records. And it's sort of like a tiny desk series. It's still not a huge space here. Drummers, we have full drum kits, but drummers are encouraged to sort of strip it down a little bit. And in general, we still can't be crazy loud, so we encourage bands to get creative with it and be sort of, have fun and do sort of that tiny desk type of thing.
Right.
But then the twist is we are also interviewing the bands so you can get to know them. So each video will be about 3 songs, a few bites from interviews mixed in at the beginning, in between songs, and at the end. And that way people can get to know these bands that are coming in and performing here as well. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, have you ever been in a band before?
I spent most of my 20s playing in bands and running a record label, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say there's got to be a lot more to it with you.
Yeah, so it's, this is all just sort of like the perfect cross-section of all the things I love, and this is always something I've wanted to do. And we're having a lot of fun with it. We've been recording, like I said, we have live shows every month in the store, once a month, since June. So, and usually they're multiple bands. Every once in a while it's one band. So I think I've filmed and recorded a dozen bands already.
Oh, really? That far in?
Yeah, we're stockpiling them so that we can hopefully stay on a good schedule for releasing them once we start. Our first episode is going to be aired this January 2025.
Wow.
And we're starting with Ilani Pedroza, who is a Grayslake girl who performed at our grand opening at the old store as well as our grand opening here. And I'm really looking forward to that one dropping in January.
That's
coming up
very
soon.
cool.
Yeah.
And anybody listening that heard Nick say, like, okay, we have to do this, we have to edit this, we have to mix it down. If it sounds like a lot of work, you have no idea. Yeah, probably 10 times on that side.
It's good to have a whole team of people, and everybody's got their specialty and can focus on doing their one job really well. And that's one thing I've learned, from my 20-plus years of working in film and television production is you look at the credits list at the end of a movie, and that thing goes for 10 minutes for a reason because there were hundreds of people who are all top of the line at what they do, working on their specialty to make that thing happen.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So we're looking at some really good quality stuff coming out.
I sure hope so. We'll see.
That's funny.
But I know we've had some great performances, and the audio that I've heard that we've captured is great, and same with all the video I've seen. So I'm sure it'll be fun to watch.
Awesome. So with other bands that are around the area, or somebody, do you take suggestions if somebody wants to be on the show live from Andy's? Can they do that? Can they contact you?
Yeah, people can reach out. I encourage people to reach out to me. One of the things I'm trying to do right now is create like a submissions form on our website so that there's a more formal way for people to submit, and so that people can have a list of, the things that they should give me along with it. But in general, reach out. Tell me about your band. Tell me about the music you play. If you have links to a SoundCloud or YouTube videos or literally any way I can see or hear your band, please include those. Tell me about, what shows you've played before, maybe, if you've, what type of people come out to see your band, if any. That stuff's all helpful. But in general, I just reach out to me. I'd love to find out if there's anybody around who's playing music and wants to come play at the store.
Awesome. That's very cool.
Again, I'm booking one show a month, so it's pretty far out.
Right.
I think currently I'm already booked through May, just because it's, I'm only booking one band a month, or one show a month.
One show a month. Yeah, the next one has 3 bands in there.
Yeah,
so
the next one has 3 bands, yeah.
All right, so if people that haven't been here and not familiar with the space, you can do me a favor before we go any further to talk about kind of, because it's a really inviting, cool space, family friendly, everything. So you walk in, you get this great vibe. Kind of just take us around, walk through, and tell me things that you really like about it.
I got to credit my wife for the positive vibe in here. She does most of the design work.
All right.
And I think the family vibe just comes from the fact that my wife and my mother-in-law are the only 3 who are usually working here, and my 3 girls are usually running around like they own the place. So it's just sort of family vibe, whether you like it or not, in here, which sometimes can be counter to what a typical record store vibe is. But we've got a good community of people here who, don't seem to have any problem with kids making noise while they're trying to shop for records. Right. But yeah, the new store is great. We've got a lot more space. We're able to have a lot more records out. I think we almost doubled the amount of records that we have out compared to the old store. I mentioned we have room for the stage. We have a listening room. So if you want to come and check a record out and listen to it, or just find some new music, you can bring a record up to the front counter. We can put it on the turntable, and then you can go into the listening room and sit down and, chill out and listen to the album for a while.
Do people take advantage of that?
People do. Not a ton, but people do. And I'm trying to encourage people to do it more and more.
Be comfortable with it. I think people might feel like, I don't want to do that. But that's what it's there for.
Yeah,
right?
One of our goals, with this space was to try to continue to make it an inviting place for people to come hang out, for young people to come spend some time if they want. We've got the arcade machine, the Pac-Man machine that was donated to us by a regular of ours. And so luckily, with that and the listening room, and then we've got this so far we've just built out some bar counters where you can sit with some stools and have a drink and stuff, but our one sort of project we're still working on is from there. We're going to build out a little kitchenette and just sort of try to make it an inviting place for people to come hang out, have their coffee, listen to music, whatever. And then, long term down the road, that kitchenette is going to serve as a place where caterers or food service people can be doing some stuff when we have parties and events and we want to have food.
It's great. It's really, I think I said when we walked in, you've used every square inch of this place.
We do that, yeah.
You've done really well.
Yeah, when my wife and I were first living together, we lived in like a 750 square foot apartment in Logan Square, and we used every single inch of it. So
training.
We're pretty good at that, yeah.
Really cool.
We live in a 120-year-old house here in Lake Street with 5 people, so it's like we know how to use a small space.
No, that's great. Now, what room are we in right now?
So this is my office and my studio, or as it's become, the kids' green room. Wow. This is where my kids come and take over. But, this is supposed to be my office and my studio, and it does serve as that as well. And then, we've got, you can see through to this room here. This is our record storage room to the side here. When we moved in, this building was all stalled out from salon chairs that were being rented to different stylists, and we had to knock almost all of them out to open the building back up again.
Right.
But we kept a few. We used one as the listening room, and I've got one here that I've kept to use as record back storage, basically.
It's crazy. No, you've used the space really well.
Yeah.
And I love inside because of whether it's the giant windows and the daylight and everything that comes in. It's just a really cool feel.
And, we had no daylight in the old space.
Right.
We had, a few windows in the one room, but other than that, it was very much a hole in the wall.
Right. No, but this is great.
Yeah, it's nice.
With the room for the stage there, you still have room for, how many people do you have come in when you do your shows?
I think We've had 5 people bands a couple of times. I think when we did our Andy Fest here in August, we had the Bill Chapin Jazz School did like a student showcase. And I think they had, they had drums, upright bass, keyboard, guitar, and then like 3 or 4 horn players. So that was like 7 or 8 people that they had crammed in there. It was really fun.
Wow.
It was a squeeze, but it was really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
So things that you've decided with the space as you've got it. I love that you have room that you can have people in here and play live music. Also, the thing, you have your listening parties, is that correct?
Yeah, we call it Vinyl Listening Club. And it meets once a month, and it's just like a book club. We pick an album. We set up chairs in a circle out on the floor of the record store right in front of the speakers, and we listen to the album all the way through on vinyl, and we just talk about it. And we talk about music, and we see where the discussion takes us from there. It's really casual. It's BYOB. We put out some snacks. There's usually a raffle prize. The big prize is that, similar to a book club, we rotate through the group who gets to choose the next album.
Yeah, that's going to be who gets to choose.
So we raffle off the raffle prize, but whatever the prize is that night is usually secondary, because also with winning the raffle, if you haven't chosen yet, you get to choose the next album.
Hey neighbors, this is Bill Mock with the Grayslake Chamber of Commerce. And if you're looking for a network of hard-working, customer-focused, and generally friendly local businesses who are dedicated to helping each other succeed, then I'd like to invite you to check out and consider joining our Grayslake Chamber. We offer our members so many ways to advance their businesses through social networking events, special event sponsorships, informative lunch and learns, and the ever-popular after-hours mixers. Come see why we say we're the new wave of business here in Lake County.
So that's been really fun, and we've built a really wonderful community of people. I'd say we have about 25 or 30 people who sort of rotate coming to different ones depending on if they're available or if the album is something they're interested in.
Yeah.
And it's turned out into a really nice group. So that's another once-a-month thing that we're doing here in the store. So our regular monthly events are the live music and the listening club, and then different special events and parties that get sprinkled in throughout the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're saying in your free time. You did use that phrase.
I did use that phrase, yeah, and I immediately regretted
right.
it. Yeah.
So I always forget to state like the obvious. So somebody listening right now that's not familiar with you, I love your videos that you put out, and I love all your information. So Instagram, Facebook, everywhere is Andy's Records Grayslake. Is that how it's on there?
Oh, man, you're putting me on the spot because my wife does all the social media, but I think it's just Andy's.records on Instagram, and Facebook is just Andy's Records Grayslake, I think, and TikTok, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But we're on there.
Cool. That people can follow those, stay with all the events, everything coming.
We're not on Blue Sky yet, and the YouTube channel, once we start putting them up in January, will be live from Andy's.
Okay. So that's what it is for right now.
That's what it is for right now until I'm told to change it. Yeah.
So get on there and subscribe, because I think this would be cool.
Yeah, and like I said, we're going to launch the first episode sometime in January. It'll be Ilani Pedroza, which is really some amazing performances that we captured, so I'm really excited to share that one.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that you just didn't stick with the music, that you get to know them, because obviously in the field I'm in, I love to hear people's stories, and it tells a lot. I usually like bands a heck of a lot better after you get to know who they are, right?
I like stories too, and I work in a lot of documentary when I'm doing film and television stuff, and I think in general with art, people like to have a story to go with it. They like to get to know the artist. They love it when the story is of a tragic artist, or they have a real epic backstory, which is why so many rock stars have made up their, biographies just to sell more records.
Sure.
So it's fun to get to know the bands. I mentioned Tiny Desk. We also, another NPR series that I always really loved was Live from the World Cafe, which was a similar thing, and they would always talk to the bands. They had a host for that show, and they would talk to the bands in between songs and get to know them. And so I wanted to mix in a little of that. Also, just I feel like a lot of the bands we're bringing on are friends of mine, are local performers, are people that I'm hoping the viewership might not know and are getting to know. So I want to give them a chance to get to know these bands as well as hear them.
And it's great that you say that, because we always say about this show, I tell people, don't listen to the people you know, listen to people you don't know.
Right.
Like, let's open people's eyes here and introduce them to other people.
Right.
And what a cool thing for the musicians, because musicians that, especially local or smaller bands, have a problem, getting in front of people to grow their audience, right? So this is a great thing for them.
Yeah, and I should say we always pay bands. We have a budget for music. I have a PA system. I mentioned you mentioned like we're running sound. So when you come here, even though it's not a traditional venue, you're going to get treated like you're playing at a traditional venue. You're going to get paid. You're going to have somebody run sound for you. You're going to have a stage monitor. Thank you, Greg, for telling me I had to buy that. And you're going to hopefully have a good experience and not feel like, you came and played for nothing and nobody. And then you're also going to get this video that we put out, which will hopefully be a good promotional tool for you.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm sure, because how many people beg for that and don't have all the resources that you do, from audio to video mixing and all of the editing.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I want to pause for 1 second because Greg Hankin, very cool
I know,
guy.
we keep bringing him up.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Okay, so how did you two meet?
That is a funny story. I can't remember if I told that story or not. I don't think I did.
I don't think so.
So when I first moved to Grayslake and decided I was going to open the record store, I was all over Facebook Marketplace buying furniture and things that I needed for the store and for my studio. And Greg, I found on Facebook Marketplace, was posting actually these acoustic treatments that are up on the wall behind me for sale, which came from the Oasis. These were up in the Oasis.
Got you.
And I needed them for my space, and I saw that Greg and I had a mutual friend. So I messaged him, and I went over and talked to him, and we started chatting, and it was like a stepbrother situation. We just immediately became best friends. It still is. We had everything in common, and we just hit it off from there. And so, I always say, between my wife and I aren't from here. We moved here in 2021. I moved in next door to Miss Mary, and then met Greg, and between the two of them, I was introduced to literally everybody in town, and now I feel like I've been here my whole life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
and so the community, especially with the new space in the record store, you're really happy with too.
Yeah, we love it here, and as you know, our family lives here, and it's just such a great community, and they've really taken us in, and the record store and the family, and it's just been wonderful,
Yeah, and I like too that the community's been good to you, but at the same time you give back, and I know that everything's not finalized for the things, but you're really involved with the Chamber of Commerce, right?
I am. I'm a member. I've been a member since the shop opened, and I've been trying to get more involved as we've settled into our place here a little bit. I started working on the Beer Fest committee last year, the SIPs for Scholarships, and I booked the bands for the festival last year. I'm going to do that again this year.
Good.
And now I'm just put an application in to become a director for the board of the chamber.
Awesome.
So we'll see how that pans out. But I'm trying to keep doing more. And in general, as we mentioned with my free time early, my philosophy is generally say yes to everything you can.
That's why me and you have no free time.
Every once in a while I regret it, but for the most part, it keeps me involved with the community, and it helps me feel like we're giving back to this community that has supported us and been so great to us. So, I almost never say no to donating a gift certificate or something, to anything. I know. And I just did some DJing at the Turkey Trot, which was really fun. I got to go in.
I saw you're up at the
It was awesome.
Field, right?
I got to take over the PA announcer's booth at the football field and blast a playlist at 8:30 in the morning. Sorry, anybody who lives over there on School Street. But it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. And I just, try to say yes if I've got the time. If I look at my calendar and there's nothing on that day and I'm going to be here, then sure, why not,
Okay, so with saying how busy you are, I believe that you also do things that were you spinning tunes at Beer Bazaar last night?
I do one Sunday a month at Beer Bazaar.
Okay.
They do vinyl Sundays every Sunday. Right. You can bring your records in. You can spin them. They'll play your records. They'll give you $1 off your first pour if you bring a record in.
How cool is that?
And once a month I host it. So I go over with a few crates of records to sell and a crate of records of stuff that I want to play in case nobody brings a lot of other stuff in to play. But
it's also very cool what you do, because it's so like I love how in our world of 2024, soon to be, people listening to 2025, things that are retro or things that we grew up with, like they're records. Like so many things are so technical that we lose all of the stuff, but some things remain cool, like records.
Yeah.
Like we've had you and you've been kind enough to come to our like 90s fundraiser, our 80s fundraiser, all these things, but there's some nostalgia, some really cool vibe around all these things you do.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's interesting you mentioned the technical stuff, because it's like now there's a whole technical expertise to being able to set up and run records that most people don't have because they're not familiar with this equipment.
Right.
And I'm constantly teaching people about it, and I'm not even, the most expert with this stuff compared to a lot of audiophiles, but, it's like I'm constantly teaching people how to set up a record player, what it is, what equipment you need to make it play.
Right.
And it's really funny listening to people come in, young people come in with their parents, and parents explaining to kids what cassette tapes were, or what 8-tracks were, or what these little 45 spacers are. And it's just fun to sit back and watch that stuff and listen to those conversations.
I'm sure it happens all the time.
Yeah, all the time. It's great.
And speaking of technology, and we'll move on. So you and I had something a couple weeks ago where we had a friend that needed a CD ripped and burnt.
That's right.
But you're way back even further talking about records.
Yeah.
But finally you got it taken care of.
Yeah.
I didn't have the technology to fill that
Nobody
gap
did.
anymore.
That was a time capsule of its own. Nobody's been burning CDs for 25 years. So we had to locate a disk drive. I had to send her out on a treasure hunt to find a stack of blank CDs.
Right. Which used to be go to Walgreens, get whatever you want.
Yeah. But we did it, and then I had this flashback night where I was sitting here at the checkout counter with my computer, jockeying blank CDs out of the disk drive and onto the spindle and just burning as many of these CDs as I could. I burnt 10 of them for her, I think.
Oh my gosh.
It was fun. It was a real flashback. Yeah.
It's funny, and it's funny to see how things go. So I'm sure that your experiences with people, like it must like little kids learning how to do, like.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a 78 Trans Am, but that has an 8-track player in it, which is cool. Do you sell 8-tracks here, by the way?
I do, yeah.
Oh, really?
I've got some cool ones. You should check it out.
Awesome.
We had Wish You Were Here. It would have been great for your Trans Am, but somebody picked that one up. Yeah.
So that's so anybody looking for an 8-track, you got to stop in. And anybody who hasn't been here needs to just come in to check it out, because I think maybe it's the nostalgia vibe or whatever it is. It's just so different. It seems like everything we have in this world right now is all the same, or everybody covers all these things, where your expertise is just something kind of stepping back.
It's hard not to find something that'll make you smile in here,
Absolutely.
Whether it's an old record with a funny picture on the cover, or the Pac-Man machine, or whatever. It's hard to come in here and not find something that'll bring you back and make you smile.
It's very cool. All right, so I'm going to jump back because I came over to your Rockin' Santa, your holiday, holiday party, and if you don't know Nick, what you're getting to know him, he brings people together, whether it seems like on accident or you're just doing things blatantly on purpose. But you introduced me to one of your friends, that you guys are doing stuff with.
Yeah, Austin.
Yeah, I recorded on the show. I don't know if it's coming out after yours or before yours, but let's talk about Austin and the things you guys are collaborating on.
Yeah, well, Austin is an awesome guy. I met him when the record store first opened up. He came in because we were selling zines, which are like homemade magazines. They're kind of like a DIY punk thing. It's been around forever, but now it's a whole art form now. People will make, zines with poems in them, zines with just drawings and artwork, a zine, telling a story, whatever you want. And it's a really easy thing you can do on a single piece of paper, copy a bunch of them on a Xerox machine, fold and cut them, and it's a really small manufacturing cost. So,
which is so cool. I think that's the first thing I saw you doing, because that was your business.
That's our business card. Yeah, we have a zine. It's sort of, we have a real business card now, but we do have the zine that we started with and that we still make that sort of talks about my dad and Andy's and how we got started and just sort of what our story is.
Right.
So that's how I met Austin, and he's been coming into the record store regularly ever since, and we are always talking about trying to find different ways to work together and do stuff. And he mentioned to me a few months back that he was starting this food collection, the Welcome Pantry. The Welcome Table.
Welcome Table, yeah.
Sorry, Austin. The Welcome Table. And so we started talking more and more about it, and we had the holiday party coming up, and another friend of mine mentioned, hey, last year you guys were raising money for this nonprofit during the holiday party. What are you going to do this year? And I went, oh, well, maybe we should collect some food for Austin. So I reached out to Austin. He had been doing these well, I can get to that later, but I reached out to Austin, and we decided to partner up with the Welcome Table and become a permanent food collection spot for them. So people can bring food here, canned goods, dry goods, anything that's shelf stable, anytime we're open, we've got a bin at the front, and you can drop it off, and the welcome table will come pick it up, once a month or so, and distribute it to the food pantries that they're bringing them to.
It's really cool.
And so we decided to make the holiday party sort of the launch for that. So that was the first time we did it. We collected, I didn't ask Austin what the weight was, but we had, several shopping bags full of food that he had to haul out of here that night. And it was just a really great kickoff and a good way to, tie in doing something positive for the community to our holiday party. And then what I was getting at before is Austin has been doing these potluck dinners, potlucks with bands. So he's a musician also, so he'll get some bands to play. They'll do a potluck at somebody's house, and he's been collecting food that way. He's been doing all these food drives through these potluck dinners. So he and I were talking about what can we do beyond just having Andy's be a permanent drop-off spot, and we came up with an open mic, something I've always wanted to do. We didn't have space to do in the old store. So starting at the end of February, we're going to do an open mic here at the record store on Friday night, every other month. And the cover fee to get in the door will be to bring a canned good or a dry good or something for the welcome table of food donation.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
I think you guys are so like-minded also, too, that you see how to bring people together, right? And now when his whole episode is awesome because it's fun to see that you guys are like-minded and the people gather around food, music, and it's about bringing people together.
It is, and it's the things we love and want to be doing anyway. And that's what I always say. It's like the things I love and that my dad Andy loved are food, music, drinking, and having a good time with people, and just
right.
Generally partying. And what I told Austin is if you can do what you're going to do anyway, and also find a way to raise money or do something for a good cause while you're doing it, then that's the best feeling in the world, and it can make you feel a little bit less of a degenerate for wanting to drink and party with your friends.
A little bit less.
Yeah.
Right. Well, why do you think all the fundraisers we do revolve around drinking, dancing, music?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, that's what people like to do. It's when people have a good time. It's also when people get a little liberal with their giving, which is great for, when you're trying to raise money for a good cause.
Absolutely.
And, but like I said, for us, it's very much about building a community of people who are into music and into food and into having a good time and trying to do some good while we're at it.
Right. And I like that you say community because that's really what everything is, right?
Yeah.
And you're bringing together like-minded people that work together, and if there's a cause in there that we can help people with, everybody wins, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I say this all the time, my wife and I moved here in 2021. It's hard to make friends when you're an adult. And when you have little kids, usually your friends, the only other adults you're meeting are people who, have other kids that go to your kid's school or whatever. You're not necessarily people you want to be friends with or would be friends with, if you had met them in other ways.
Sure.
And since we've opened up the record store, we have met so many amazing people. I've made so many great friends and just so many like-minded people as we've sort of helped build this community of music fans and music lovers that are around here.
It's true. I didn't think about that, but how many of your friends at a certain point in your life are the people that you meet at school functions or at the bus stop or picking up from school?
Yeah.
You're very limited, unless you have jobs like you and I where we get to be out around.
Yeah, and so, running this store for my wife, that's been the blessing in disguise for both of us, is we've just met so many wonderful people in and around town that we wouldn't have met otherwise, or that it would have taken us a lot longer to meet, I think.
Yeah. And it seems like your community, like you're building community here too, so people that want to come in for your the listening club or the open mic nights or all of these other things, there's opportunity if people want to get out and do things.
100%. And this is wild. Our listening club started having hangouts outside of the record store, and they schedule them on their own, and they've got a group text. And they take turns hosting it at different people's houses, and they get together with records and hang out outside of the club now. It's really grown into a community beyond us.
See, that's really
which is
cool.
a really wonderful feeling, yeah.
Right. And it's not a closed community, too, so people want to get involved in that. I'm sure they welcome with open arms to have more people like that.
Yeah, we love it. We get a couple new people, I'd say, every time at the listening club, and it's always fun to welcome somebody new in and get a new perspective on, whatever we're talking about.
What was the last album you listened to? Do you remember?
The last album was Silent Shout by The Knife, a electronic band
I don't know anything
from
about
Sweden. Yeah, 2006 album.
Really?
Yeah, and it was picked by one of the guys in the club. It's one of his all-time favorite albums, and we had a really awesome discussion about it. It's really great. We've got a lot of people who are very open-minded. who are going to come to the club whether they've heard the album before or not,
Right.
and who are going to give it a good, fair listen over and over again in the week or 2 weeks before we meet, regardless of whether it's a type of music that they would typically like.
Right.
And that makes for some really interesting discussion.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so with all these things going on, I look at you and I'm like, okay. So I think, and I look around here going, it's not easy to keep the inventory here, or you constantly have to be looking for new records all the time, right?
Yeah, well, I buy brand new records from my distributor every single week, so I'm constantly ordering, but which also makes it easy because I tell people if there's something you want we don't have, I'll order it. I can special order it in for you. It'll be here next week as long as they're still making it and it's not a back-ordered item.
Right.
But then the used records come in every week. People bring me boxes of records they want to sell or trade in every single week. I have 6 boxes sitting out there right now that somebody just dropped off.
Really?
Yeah. So it's constant, and I'm just constantly, dealing with that and buying records from people. I have to turn records away from people. I can't buy all of them. I have limited space,
Yes.
and I do not have a dumpster, so I can't throw stuff away for people either. But I do. If I can buy it, I will. Any collection I'll look through. If there's stuff that we can resell that people will want to buy, I'll buy it, and we'll take what we can off your hands, and then I'll try to point you in the right direction for anything else if you're trying to clear out your basement or whatever. But
Yeah, I was just thinking about all the albums I have. But thinking about that too, it's fun to see how you can bridge all these things. Because I would like to. What does your record collection look like?
This is about half
your
of it
personal one,
right
right?
here. And then the other half is in the shelves up behind the checkout counter where we pull from to listen to while we're up there.
That's cool.
But so it's maybe not as huge as you might expect, but I would say it's easily doubled in the last 18 months.
Well, yeah. Don't get high off your own supply,
Yeah.
right? I see an Ice Cube one there, which is kind of funny.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So you have all kinds of different.
I have all types of stuff. Yeah.
And this is kind of going back because anybody that hasn't listened to the first episode we did, it is on the Discovering Grayslake. It's right in the beginning, so listen back to that because the story of your dad and everything is just awesome, and how things came to be here, and how your childhood must have been very interesting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm not complaining. It was a good childhood.
It's good, and living, in legacy, because this is a really cool thing. I think your dad probably just looking down like, rock on, man.
Yeah, and it's interesting. People call me Andy all the time. Sometimes I correct them, sometimes I don't. But it's a nice little, way to carry on his tradition and his memory.
That is cool. Because the first time I met you, I was like, hey, Andy.
Yeah.
You're like, no. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, because I wanted to have you on the show. And then after you told me it was named after your father, I'm like, well, hell, now we definitely have to do this now for sure. So you have a lot of really cool ththings going on. The welcome table thing's really cool. So anybody wants to get involved with that or come down to Andy's just to drop off, food. That's such a good thing.
Yeah, anytime we're open, you can bring canned good, dry good. I think they can also take sealed, like, personal hygiene items and stuff, too.
Yes.
I've been tinkering with it. Let's just make it official. If you bring a canned good or any sort of donation, I'm going to give you 10% off of used vinyl with your purchase.
Awesome.
Because I just want to encourage people as much as I can to bring stuff even in between the times when we're doing these open mics or these events to directly support the welcome table.
Yeah, and we spoke about that too with Austin too. That right now when we're recording, all the stuff is going on. It's during holiday times where people are like more apt to give food or they,
right.
But people are hungry all the time.
Yeah.
So we can help people out all through the year, whether it's the middle of summer, or whether it's the middle of winter, whatever. So
yeah,
I like that you guys are keeping it open all the time.
And I think some people think, or it's easy to think that, there aren't people right here in our community that are in need, but there are, and constantly, and, the things they've got, you ever drive past the Avon Township, and there's always a line at that food pantry. Yep. And the things they're doing are amazing as well. I've tried to introduce Austin to Michelle as well.
Yes.
Because they're both so passionate about helping the community. So that's another great place to plug. Anybody knows anybody in need, reach out to the Avon Township, and they've got so many resources there to help that you might not know about.
Yeah, and if you don't know about them, listen back to Michelle Bauman's podcast, because I was sitting there with my jaw down like, you do what? You do what? You do what? There's so many. And it shows that if they have all these services, there's obviously people in need in our community that need these.
For sure.
And I think some of us live a kind of a sheltered life where they don't think these things are really in need around here. Mm-hmm. But there are. There's people that need everything.
And I think some of us us have, emergencies in our homes, flooding, things like that come up, and we would never even consider that we can go, get some flood mitigation stuff from the Avon Township to help us out. So, if you need help and you're stuck, reach out to them. You never know. Can't hurt to ask.
Absolutely. And everything I see in one of the groups or the community groups that somebody needs this or somebody needs that, there's always somebody there, and there's people that need it. And how many times do I see Avon Township come up with that? Because it's and it's available. So hats off to them. They're doing a really awesome job. I think the point of that is with our community that we're all here to help. We can all do our little part of doing things and lead people in the right direction.
Yes, agreed.
All right, so where are we going from here? I love the YouTube series because I think that everybody should get on and do that.
Thank you.
So I look around here, and you're doing all of this stuff, and we talk about how you have no free time.
Yeah.
But you are not this guy that sits down and just lets these things go. So what is on the horizon? What are some projects you're working on that you want to get done?
Yeah, 2025, the YouTube series is going to be a big thing because we're starting that off right away in January, and we're going to do our best to drop an episode every month or every 6 weeks after that. But, as far as the store goes, I definitely want to move us into online sales. A lot of record stores start with online businesses and then open brick and mortar. We did the opposite. So it's time for us to start selling online. That involves mailing records around the country and the world. But also I'd like to incorporate having our new release records available on our website for people to place order to come in for pickup. Right now, people can do that. They reach out to me on social media, or they email me, or they call, or whatever, and I take pre-orders so that they can come pick stuff up when the new release comes out. But I'd like to, build that infrastructure into our website and create a spot where people can just go click online and order, and then come and pick a record up as well. So
yeah, that's really cool. So how is ordering? Because the first thing I think of is I'm going to buy a used record.
Yeah.
So if I'm ordering from California, are people apprehensive to do that?
For sure. So there is an online marketplace that people use. It's like eBay for vinyl. And there's record stores and record collectors all over the world selling on there. And it's really easy to suss out, same way you would on eBay, how many reviews a person has and what their rating is, and really quickly tell if they're being honest and delivering product that is as described or not. And from there, every record on there is, they use the standard grading system. So the sleeve and the record are graded on their condition from poor all the way up to near mint. And so you'll see a rating for the disc and the sleeve, the specific one that you're looking to buy. And then there's a spot for notes. People will often leave notes. This jacket has a crack on the corner, the seam, splitting at the seam, whatever. So between the learning how to read the quality of the disc and learning to sort of suss out whether or not the seller is good and honest, you can sort of figure out if you're going to get what you're looking at, and that's sort of how it works.
Right. Yeah. Because I would assume that you have people that are like, I need this because it's a collector's item. I have to have this.
Right.
And some people are just like, I want this Def Leppard album, and I want to listen to it, and I don't care as long as it plays.
And it's a full range of that, and you can buy anything you want on there, which is really great. You can also people catalog their collections on there so they can see what they want, and find out when people start selling the ones that they want. So there's a lot of people collecting on there, and it'll be a great place for us to get. We have a bin of collectors' records, things that are maybe $100 or more because they're rare, or they're things that are interesting, and there just aren't enough people coming through our doors here at the shop in Grayslake to find them. Sure. But if I put them online, there's somebody in the world who's dying to get that record, and so I just haven't had the time. But so that's one of our big goals, is moving into there, getting our collectors' records up on the marketplace so we can move some of them out of the store a little more quickly and get new stuff up on the shelves and in that bin. And then, the new release thing is more for locals. I think that'll be good for people who want to come in and pick stuff up and make sure that the new albums that they want are here and waiting for them.
Wow. So are they making all music right now? Like Anything I Want? Like more so, are they putting on albums?
They are, yeah.
Really?
And they're reissuing lots of old stuff. So, if there's something you want, new or old, reach out to me and ask. There's a good chance I can get it for you. Between brand new from my distributor or used from the marketplace, there's a decent chance I can order it in for you and get you a copy of what you're looking for.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break right here, and as we do everything, we're we're going to take a little break and do our Grayslake Hot Seat.
Oh, boy. All right.
With Nick. So,
The Grayslake Hot Seat is brought to you by Joe Velez at JPV Financial. It's often said that those who fail to plan are planning to fail. Joe Velez and his team at JPV Financial create unique financial plans that address some of the most difficult challenges that people might face as they get older. No matter what stage of life you're in, having a proactive financial plan can help navigate some of the difficult decisions you'll face, helping you live your life by design, not default. Securities and investment advisory service offered through Osaic Wealth Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Now for the Grayslake Hot Seat. Hey, thanks, Joe.
all right, so I know we did this the first time that we were together. So we have some new questions, and it's a new you, after all these. That was 2023.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it 2023?
Yeah, it should have been.
Something like that. Wow. I'm getting younger by the minute. All right, so we're going to do some rapid-fire questions. We'll get to learn a little bit more about you.
Let's do this.
These are a little different. So how does someone impress you?
Talk about a band that I don't think you would have heard of. That's a very easy way to impress me.
I love these questions because they're so different. Like, I would never think that.
Food also, but definitely you drop a cool band that I don't think you should have heard of, and I'll be impressed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me something on your bucket list that you'd love to accomplish in 2025.
Oh, wow. Bucket list for 2025. Well, I should say this. It's my 2025 will be my 10-year wedding anniversary, and my wife and I have promised each other that we're going to take a nice vacation of some sort to celebrate. So that's on my bucket list.
Awesome.
I got to make sure
Promise
that
me
happens.
you're going to do that.
I have to. We didn't have a honeymoon. I have to make this happen. Yeah.
Okay, you better.
Yeah.
Now, this is recorded. And
I'm
I was just thinking
I'm locked in now.
As we're answering the 2025 question, I always tell people that these podcasts are out there forever. So hopefully you'll listen back to this when you're an old man and go, wow, and you better have taken her on the vacation.
Yeah, and she's going to listen, so I'm locked in.
If your life was a story, what would it be titled?
Oh, wow. I'm going to go with Rattled by the Rush, which is my last name and also the title of a Pavement song that I've always maintained would be my walkout music if I were a baseball player. Yeah. So
I'll have to listen to that. Awesome. And it's funny that you're answering these very quickly, and these are, wow, I'm a little impressed. And I'll start this. Besides your wife, who would you want to be on a desert island with?
Oh, wow. Beside my wife.
Because that would just get you in trouble either way. The desert island.
Man, that's tough. It's like, I'm sure for a lot of men, picking a beautiful woman would be an easy and obvious choice, but I can see a lot of problems coming out with that too. We've been talking about him a lot today. Let's go. I'm going to go with Greg Henkin.
Oh,
Greg. we get along so well. I think we'd figure it out.
I could see you jamming out a palm tree together, like hanging out.
That's right. We'll have our island band and we'll just be chilling.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody stops to pick you guys up. You're like, no, come back in a month. It'll be fine. This is an interesting. Some of these I love these questions because I don't remember writing them. Which could be good or bad. If you could win an Olympic gold medal, what would it be in?
Oh, wow. Breakdancing. I've always wished I could breakdance.
You're not a professional.
And it would have only been this year because they're not doing it again, right? No, I have no idea how to breakdance, but I wish I could.
That's awesome. I love it. Okay. What was your last Google search?
Oh, boy. You know what? I think it was this isn't very fun or, saucy, but I think it was for the next album that we're doing for the Vinyl Listening Club, which is The Midnight Organ Fight by a band called Frightened Rabbit.
Man, I got to get in the business of naming stuff. That's just great. Say that again.
The Midnight Organ Fight, which I found after doing a Google search about the album, is a euphemism for sex.
Oh. All right.
Yeah.
I need a band.
It's a good album title.
It's a great album title. I love it. If you owned a boat or a yacht or something, what would the name of your vessel be?
Oh, wow. Kirby Puckett, I think.
Why Kirby Puckett?
I'm a Twins fan. Grew up in the late 80s and early 90s when Kirby led us to a couple of World Series.
Okay.
Guy's a hero of mine.
I was in Winona, Minnesota. They won it was been like mid-90s. They win the World Series. I remember looking out the window because I was the only Chicago kid out there, and people just rushing the streets.
And he's a Chicago guy, too.
Yeah. Kirby was the man. Is the man. Celebrity crush.
Oh, wow. Well, right now, it changes pretty often. Right now, it's probably Sydney Sweeney. It's tough to not be in love with her right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's a interesting one. Tell me an experience that you had that you thought was really bad, but turned out to be good or a blessing for you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to go with the time I had to spend 2 weeks on the road with William Shatner. I do film and television production for my day job. I got hired to do like a docu-follow show where William Shatner was driving a motorcycle with some VFW bike riders from Chicago to LA on Route 66. And he, as his reputation will tell you if you look into this, is one of the most horrible people to work with in all of show business. And the guy was just awful. But blessing in disguise, I have some really wonderful stories about what a POS William Shatner is, and I love to share them with people. I'm not going to get too into them here where we're being recorded, but I will happily share them with you if you ask me about them. And it's just a wild experience. And the funny thing is, one of my good friends, a camera operator that I work with all the time, also did a shoot separate with William Shatner. And we'll swap, when we get together, we'll just swap battle stories and just laugh about what a piece of work that guy is.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder how people get, after all this time, when did people just say, I'm not working with you anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and by the time I worked with him, he was 80 plus, and he spent his whole life in the limelight and just having people cater to him. Sure. And it's just, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so that was a horrible experience that at least has a lot of great stories. And
didn't we say in the beginning of this, I'm sure we're going to cover some stories, but we don't know what to be. That's why I love these questions.
That's the only time I've ever almost walked off of a job while I was working. We got to St. Louis the second day, and I almost walked away then, but I toughed it out the rest of the shoot.
Wow.
And
well, good. And now you have the stories to tell.
Yeah.
Most people have no idea what to do with their aging loved one who needs help. Well, there is a solution. A company that provides care and assistance to make your loved one feel right at home. At Right at Home, their mission statement is to improve the quality of life for those they serve. They offer extensive services: personal and companion care, safety supervision and transportation, fall prevention, dressing and bathing assistance, medical reminders, meal prep, hospice support, ambulation support, stroke recovery, Parkinson's support. The list goes on and on and on. If you have an aging loved one that needs help, call Right at Home. Most people prefer to age in their home rather than moving to an assisted living or nursing home. Right at Home can make this happen. Contact Right at Home at rightathomenlc.com or give them a call, 847-984-0103. Now back to the show.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Not really. No.
Okay.
I want to, but I've never had any. I want to experience something that will give me a reason to believe it, but I've never had any supernatural experience, so I've got no evidence to go on.
All right.
I will say my father's bridal shop in Minneapolis was supposedly haunted. Employees of his said they would see who stayed late, said they had seen a ghost of an elderly Asian woman. None of them knew that such a woman had died in the building. My dad had found her. So that's the one thing that gives me a little bit of pause and makes me wonder. But I've just never had that personal experience to make me a true believer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to this one, but do you consider yourself street smarts or book smarts?
Little of both, and missing a little of both also. Sometimes I tell myself I'm the dumbest smart guy I know, or the other way around, just depending on the circumstance.
I think I've been called that too. We know really random other stuff that people. I have a lot of useless information.
I have a lot of useless information.
But when it comes up,
yeah,
we're the guy. We're your go-to guys. Let's see. What do you wish that you've learned sooner in life?
That is a tough one. What do I wish I had learned sooner in life? I think just to say yes to more things and just to be open to having an experience not be what you think it might be, and to just not being afraid of what you think it might be that makes you say no.
Right.
Yeah,
and we live in worlds that, by putting yourself out there, maybe coming to one of your, record club things, that saying yes to that, or people coming in can open their eyes, and you can meet different people and bring yourself to a lot of different experiences.
Yeah, and you don't want to have regrets, as you get older, right? You want to look back and say, I made the most of my time here, and I saw and, did all these different things when I had the chances. So say yes to things. That's
I always say I'd rather regret things I did than regret things I didn't.
For sure. Yeah.
whether that counts as a broken bone or a trip to a holding cell or whatever. Not that I've had that happen, but I know people that have. This one's fun. And then we'll two things. Have you ever sent an email or a text to someone that on accident that was the wrong person?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a group text with a whole film crew that I was shooting with, and I sent a message to that I thought I was sending to my wife that said something like, "Love you too, hope it gets better." And my buddy immediately was, dropping jokes about me giving her something, and that was pretty embarrassing.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
Are you superstitious?
I'm a little bit superstitious, yeah, when it comes to, like sports and things like that. I definitely have some superstitions as a fan.
And we're gonna end with pet peeves. Do you have any pet peeves?
Oh boy, I think we did that one last time.
Yeah, I think we did too.
You know which one? Can I switch it? Because there's one you always do.
You can do whatever you want.
There's one you always do that I didn't do last time that I've always wanted to answer, which is the roller dog question.
Oh. Yes. Have you ever eaten a roller dog from a gas station?
I haven't, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, God.
One of my first jobs, because I heard Greg tell you he'd eaten them on the road in a band. I get that. I've eaten plenty of gas station food. One of my very first jobs at 15 was working at Conoco Station, which is a gas station. And I had to clean those rollers every single night.
Oh, God.
With steel wool and a bucket of water and elbow grease. And it was disgusting. And the grease that cakes onto those rollers from those dogs spinning on them all day turned me off. I'll never do it. Can't ever do it.
But I would like to let the general public know that it's still okay to eat a roller dog.
Yeah, sure.
Just don't clean them.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
But I'm sure you'll live. It'll be fine. I love, and the roller dog questions are one of my favorite ones. Now I get to make TikTok videos and everything just with roller dogs. And if you know, you know.
Yeah, ever since I've been listening to the show and I've heard you ask that one, I've been thinking about having to clean those damn rollers. So I needed to get that out.
Thank you for sharing. All right. Well, thank you for participating in that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So what do we need to know? What do our listeners need to know? Obviously, we've covered a lot of things today about things. So no matter where you're at, come downtown Grayslake and check out the store. I think really the only way to really get the feel of everything is just come in the door. Yeah,
come check out the store. Reach out to me if there's something you're looking for. And look for us on YouTube with the new series, Live from Andy's, coming in January 2025. I think those are the biggest things right now. And bring some food to donate to the welcome table.
And I have a whole box. I just cleaned out my and I'm going to give somebody a couple pointers that I didn't realize after talking to you and after talking to Austin. I went through my cabinet to bring canned food and dry goods here. I had a lot of expired stuff.
Right.
So make sure to do that before you drop it off, because I didn't realize, it's canned food. It lasts forever. I was opening stuff. I also had a whole garbage can full of food, which makes me a little more aware of what I'm shopping for, too. So,
yeah, for sure.
So check those on there and drop everything off here. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it very much. So last thing is, make sure everybody, wherever you're at, follow on Instagram, follow on Facebook, even on the TikTok. And you guys, do you do all those videos?
My wife does most of them. Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say what a great job you're doing, but I'm going to shout out to her. She's doing a great job. And also, and then website too.
AndysRecords.shop.
AndysRecords.shop.
Yeah.
And on there you can get any custom order that they want, or you try to.
Yeah, for right now you can email me through there. Otherwise, hopefully soon we'll have like a submission form or a spot where people can order new releases. And we have an events calendar on the website also, so you can see all the events that are happening at the shop.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate that. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Nick.
Thank you so much.
Hey, wherever you guys are listening, do me a favor. Make sure that whether you're on Apple, whether you're on Spotify, whether you're on YouTube, wherever you're at, make sure that you subscribe. That way, every week you'll be alerted of a new show that's coming out. And what we talked about before is try to listen to people you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun to listen to people you know, but I think the really way to bring community together is when you walk down the street and you see somebody, you're like, you listen to this guy's story for an hour, a gal's story for an hour. Like, it's a big deal. And the reason that we do this, to bring people together, and hopefully people end up shopping or doing business with people because they know them just a little bit better.
For sure, yeah.
I appreciate everybody's listening. Hey, and we always end, get out there. We never know what our neighbors are going through, our friends. So get out there and do 1, 2 different random acts of kindness today. Just actually holding the door for somebody, or smiling at a cashier, or just doing something nice makes the world go round. So kindness spreads like wildfire, so get out there and do that. And again, thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you next Tuesday, everybody.